Alright, I forgot something here. In my sketch, I forgot to mention, when you stack dimension, you don't get that tolerance to build up, because no matter what I do to this 4-inch dimension and the 2-inch dimension, it's not going to matter. This will still be at 6 inches. If this were at 403 and this were at 197, I'm still going 6 inches for overall width. The directions were to go 3 inches tall. Well, if this changed to 0.97 and this changed to 2.03, this rise would be different, but the overall height would still be at 3. Now, that being said, your rise and run might be the critical thing, and then if that were the critical thing, then you would want to change dimension. Maybe the height and width isn't really that critical, just so long as the steps are equal for every rise and every length of the step. So if you were to go look up specs, which I encourage you to go do, look up specs for rise and run for steps. They have a certain height and a certain flat they have for the run, because we're all used to kind of walking or climbing steps at the same rate. If they were to change that drastically, people would, like, if the rise were too high, people would often trip because we've already been accustomed to stepping to certain rises. Same with the run. If we're some steps we may have gone on where the run is too long and that it's off a step. You almost got to take 2 steps before you get onto the next step. So rise and run could be the more critical factor, and in that case you would want to change dimension. So we're going to go ahead and now that I've talked about this, we can exit out and we can create our drawing. Now you should be able to do this without me, but I will go ahead and pop in a new drawing. Actually, while I'm in here, you can just go right to 3D and go right to drafting. You don't have to create a new tab. Go to your layout and insert your drawing border. Again, we'll do a C size and create and hit apply. Find revision block and hit apply. Type in your name and initial drawing, and then go ahead and say OK to the drawing. We can, what's going on here? Just by clicking on that front screen, this thing knows you're going to probably do a front view next, so I go right to front. I'll hit front, I guess. Oh, I've already hit front. Now I can go into the tab for the part that I want to create a drawing of. Pick on that front face. Ooh, what happened there? I must have turned it off. Again, I'll go to front and pick on the tab that has the front face. Click on that. Don't forget to name your parts. I've just kind of been bypassing that. Slide this down. Go to click on it to accept that view. Go to annotation and do your stack dimensioning. You know what I'm going to do first? I'm just going to highlight this whole thing and go to properties. Hopefully this will be cleaner for you to see when I'm doing this, and you need to do that anyways according to chapter, I think, 1 or 2 in the print reading book. Okay, now we use the stack dimension option. Under stack dimension, it's going to dimension it just like we did in the sketcher. So remember my trick, grab the first one and then the last one, because when I try and go in order, what I would think would be a lot, I deactivated it, let's try again. I think it would be logical to go in order And see how sometimes it will work, okay? Other times it may not. Let's try it again. Stack. I'll try and go in order. See, it's freaking out. It's not letting me do it. I'll just reactivate stack to start again. Go from the top or bottom to the top. And then grab all the ones in. Dang, I missed the line. That was the exact same error I made last time on the chain dimension. So bottom to the top. Select this line and then this line. There's your stack dimensions. Highlight this profile. Right click on this and go to properties. And we'll numdink the numbers. Under the value tab. Now, turn the grid on. Slide this down, that's a 1/4 inch. There's a 1/2 inch. This is a 1/2 inch, but we're a little close to the part, so we'll just go out to 3/4 of an inch. The only problem is, when I turn my grid off, this looks nice and grouped, but this is a little too tight. So, we're gonna, by the way, if this happens, click on the arrow to invert the arrow. Okay, those arrows should be pointing inward, and we're gonna click on this part here. Right click and go to properties. Do you remember how I changed the spacing? It was under the tab called system, and we'll make it a 1/2 inch spacing. Okay, and that gives me a little more space so the numbers aren't so cluttered. All right, you're going to make the top view, edit all your text, and edit your rev block. Insert your general notes and answer the questions like the last one in the general notes area. And that will complete the exercise on the stack dimensions. By the way, again, when comparing or asking, well, what dimensions do I need? The easiest way to check that is to right click on the top collector and open your 3D data. It will find which part this is linked to. You know what happened is I never saved them, so it doesn't want me to do that. Anyways, if I go to my sketch here, see these 6 dimensions? Now this dimension should be a 1/2 inch away, and these dimensions should be like a 1/4 inch apart. So I should move that down to be technically correct. Okay, this should be up maybe just a hair. See how these look nice and grouped? Same with these. You want to get these the same as I got them on the drawing. Nice and grouped. Now they can't be grouped as tight as the ones on the top, but the spacing should be somewhat similar or equal. That's why it's nice to try and use the grid if you can get the grid to be helpful. All right, so see these 6 dimensions? They do match the same 6 dimensions I have here. Don't forget to create your top view and create the depth of this, but that should be enough to get you going on how to create the drawing for the stack dimensions.